Morning class, receiving schools and teachers.
Good morning, Mrs. Watagas.
How are you all this morning?
We are very well, thank you. And how are you this morning?
I'm very well, just like you all. Thank you. You may be seated. Now we are still on the strands. Can somebody tell me what strand we are still on? Strand and the sub-strand? Hayano?
Better living.
Better living and the sub-strand. Tulanga, pass it to Tulanga.
Making things.
Making things. Better living is the strand. Making things is the sub-strand. We are still on that. Strand, better living. Sub-strand, making things. Now, Anna, what do you think our topic is? What do you think our topic is?
Making patterns.
Making patterns. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, making patterns or pattern making. Making patterns or pattern making. Shane, if you could tell us something about pattern making. Pattern making. Making patterns or pattern making.
Making patterns is you making something to, I don't know, maybe form a pillowcase or something.
Okay, good, thank you. Now, making patterns or pattern making, cutting out, drafting and cutting out patterns of what is needed or to be sewn. Example, like Shane has said, because our project is on pillowcase, we are drafting, we have drafted, we have cut out the pillowcase pattern. Now, in the pillowcase pattern making or sewing of the pillowcase, or actually cutting of a pillowcase, there are 8 steps that we looked at in the previous lesson. I'd like someone to tell me what is the first step. The first step. There are 8 steps in the cutting of the actual pillowcase. What is the first step, Rachel?
Fold the fabric in half inside out.
Fold the fabric in half inside out. Thank you. The last step. Okay, we have Helen. Last step.
Mark in all the seam allowances.
Mark in all the seam allowances. Now I'd like someone to tell me, why do we have to mark in all the seam allowances? Why do we mark in all the seam allowances? Okay, yes, Tulanga has his hands up, so we'll have Tulanga. Why do we have to mark in all the seam allowances?
Because you will know where to sew.
Very good. Thank you. You will know where to sew. Okay? Good. Now, in one of the steps, we are to pin the pattern firmly onto the fabric. In one of the steps, we are to pin the pattern firmly onto the fabric. Why is this? Why? Why is this? One of the steps, we are to pin the pattern firmly onto the fabric. Why is this? Or why do we have to do that? Yes, Riku?
To hold the fabric together.
To hold the fabric together, good. To hold the fabric together so the fabric doesn't move. Thank you, Trisha. So when it's in place, make it easier for you to cut around it. Okay, good. Now we look at our activities for this morning. I'd like groups 1, 2, and 3 to read for us the first part of the activity.
In your groups, individually cut out your pillowcase
good. So what are you actually going to do? Cut out the pillowcase as you go through the steps. Good. Now I'll have the last 4 groups to tell us what our observers are supposed to be doing in each group. The last 4 groups. Very good. So in the previous lesson, we had a demonstration lesson. We had a demonstration, and in the demonstration, we had 1 observer from each group. So that observer will be helping everyone in each group in cutting the pillowcase as I go around to supervise. Okay, now I will be with group 2 as their observer is not here, but once I finish with group 2s, I should be able to move around and see what each and every one of you will be doing in the actual cutting of the pillowcase. Okay, I'd like you all to have your piece of fabric out, please. Your piece of fabric. Everyone, I'd like to see your piece of fabric. If you can hold them all up, your piece of fabric, everyone, I'd like to see so we don't have anybody without it. Raymond, do you have yours? Okay, Patricia has hers. Right, good, thank you. Now, what does the first step say? Okay, I'd like all of us to do that. All of us to do that. Inside out. The inside comes out. Make sure your desks are free from your boxes with your equipment. If you can put them away somewhere, so you have the table free. Let's see. Okay, we should all have now our piece of fabric all folded in half inside out. Now let's hurry together the second step and do what it says. Together?
Place the paper pattern with the place on fold, in the folded part of the fabric.
Okay, so your paper patterns, where it says folded, place on fold, on the pattern you place it above the folded part of your fabric. Where's yours? You have your pattern there. What? Okay, let's see. Do you have yours, Adrian? Okay. Now, you don't have enough space, so what you do, make it easy so you all have a space. I don't have mine to help you. Fold. Place on fold where it says place on fold on your pattern. That place on fold, part of the pattern must be put above the folded part of your fabric. Okay, the rest can go down. Place on fold, turn it, just to make it easier because you don't have to make space. Is a place on fold? Okay, like that. Yeah, make it, you see that three? Oh, there are three or something. What? To give you space, which your place and fold. Okay, to give you space, you turn the fabric, and the place on fold, that part, a folded part of the fabric stay there. Okay. Okay. Sorry, bring it. Okay. That's the place and fold. Do that. Move yours down to give you space. Where's your pattern?
I don't think it matches actually.
You're going to sit all through the one. You will have to try your best to cut it in your own. Okay. Place and fold. Okay. To give you space, stand it. To give you space, stand it. Turn that one off. Trisha, yes. Bend down and go and turn it off. Okay, there. You okay? So you will have to observe what we are all going to go through. And you'll have to cut yours in your own time, but you have to follow the steps as we go through. Now we should all have, by now we should have all our patterns with a place on fold above the folded part of the fabric. Now we'll all read together the third step. Shall we all read together, please?
In the pattern family onto the fabric with taking pins about 1 centimeter from the edge.
Okay, that is what you are going to now. You pin the pattern firmly onto the piece of fabric with taking pins 1 centimeter away from the edges. However, it's okay, leave it like that and just pin 1 centimeter, meaning where you had made your seam allowance, pin there. Okay, just leave it like that. 1 centimeter, meaning where you have marked your 1 centimeter seam allowance on the pattern, you pin along that line. Okay? So you have your 1 centimeter line there, so you pin you can just put 3 pins here, 1 here, 2 there, and 3. Or if you want, just put 2. Or if you don't have enough pins, just make it 2, 1 and 2. But it must be along the seam allowance. You okay? Then maybe they'll help you to get it done. You okay? Yeah. Okay, good. Whose is this? Trisha. Let's see. Where about it? You can just have, if you don't have enough pins, just have 1 there, 2 here, 1 there, 2 here, 1 in the middle. That one is okay. Let's see. Don't worry about it. Put it in the middle way. You don't have to put too many pins in one or 2. Okay. There. And with let me see. That looks like your flap. See? You have a mark there. So we turn it. Patrick, you okay?
Yep.
Okay. just put one at the end.
No. Now, we might need some space.
You have to have space to work on your what? Put this one down to give you space. Okay, let's move on to the next step. Now we have our patterns, paper patterns pinned firmly onto the fabric. Let's see the next step. What does it say?
Cut the fabric along the four edges of the pattern.
Okay, you are going to cut right around the paper pattern. And please, I'd like you to take extra care as you cut the papers, the pattern. Okay, let me see. Your scissors. Okay, you are going to cut right down this way. Okay, you cut down there and across. You don't cut this one, the fold. Observers, please, I'd like you to let your friends know the folded part of the fabric is not to be cut. Where's your scissors? Oh, he got your scissors. Let's see. This one has to come down, right on top of the fold. Right on top of the fold there. Risa, you haven't done your 1 centimeter seam allowance, but just estimate with your, that should be 1 centimeter. Make sure the fabric is straightened. Yeah, you have to get that one done. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so you look like them. Okay, your friends over there don't have scissors. I'm going to take this. Boys will finish and then you finish that. And then cut across here. Don't cut this. Okay, let's see. You can panic. Let's see. Okay, cut it. You cut it yourself. Right down from there down here. Give space. Okay, so what you do, you cut right down here, across here, and then right down there. This one, no, it stays like that. And then you can pass the scissors to your friends to cut theirs too. Watch out for your hand. Okay, and then you move this one down. Turn it so it faces you. Good there. All those not sharp. Okay, we'll see how we go about with this. What's that? But they are for cutting papers. For fabric, no. Okay, let's see. Take over, we'll do it quickly. turn it. Okay, let's see. See.
Elizabeth, you can't just send your paper to Nigeria.
Okay, hold it there. Jennifer, you have to cut yours quickly and pass it around. Get all your bits and pieces. No, your fabric has to be on the, not there. Now, you're going to leave it one.
I know. This one I did 30, so I made 2 more.
What's that?
I made 30 centimeters. This one is 30 centimeters.
Oh, you
Supposed
made
to
it
be
30
32,
here.
yeah.
Okay, so you're doing it, okay. So let's see. Our scissors is.
Nice.
Okay, let's see. Okay, you turn it. Okay, you try that one. Add that one yourself. You cut yours already? Let's see. Yeah, good. Okay, pass it. Give the scissors to the next person to cut.
And he doesn't have any pattern, paper pattern.
You will still need that one. Once you finish, after a what, and you can lend him your what and then help him to get his cut. Okay, don't remove the pins yet. You're still coming to the next step. You're not to remove the patterns.
No, Raymond didn't want to try it. Just gave him to use it and I'll put it back.
Okay, okay. Okay, let's see the next. Now we should have cut the fabric along the edges. We look at the next step. I'd like us all to read together the next step. Together, class. Okay, you are to mark down the flap. It's about 17 centimeters from the raw edge down. And along that line, you are going to cut. Okay, let's see. That's your, where's your, okay, there. That's your flap. Okay, pen will mark it. Observers, please, once again, help your friends in there. And it's going to be only the top fabric, top piece of fabric here. Now you mark down, that's your 17 centimeter mark there. That's your 17 centimeter mark there. Okay, you mark yours too. You see this one? Oh, this one here. And okay, don't do anything yet. Still cutting. Who has already cut his out? You already marked your, no, marker. Get pen or marker or pin. Mark down or pin. That's your mark this. See? Okay. So you can just put a pin there. Okay. Do the same on the other side. Another pin. Mark it. Or if you want, you can put just a marker, a dot there, another dot there. Are you okay with the next one? Where is your flap? Here. Okay, bring one marker or pen. Okay, where the mark is, we mark down. Okay, we mark only the top one. Okay. Oh, that's wrong. It's supposed to be over here. That's not a place on fold. Put it wrong. Let's see. Your flap must be over here. Okay, bring the pen. Bring the pen. Okay. That is where when we come to the next step, you only cut that one. You see? Only the top one across. Underneath, no can cut him. You cut him to top here. Okay. Okay, when we come to the next step. Have you marked in your flap? Yes. Just get a pen. Do you have your pen there?
Yes.
Come. If you cannot do it with pen, you can just get a, yeah, what's there? Okay, good. Another side. Leave it there. Trisha, did you do yours? Did you mark down your flap already? Did you mark down your flap?
I told him to take out the packet things.
No, that's okay, but come. Give me pen. Okay, that's your. See? Okay, you need to mark down. You need or mark down. Okay. Later when we come to the next step. Have you marked down your flap? Okay, let's see. Leave a pin there. We see your flap first. Pen. Okay, that's your flap 17 centimeter mark there.
This one is
No, that's a seam allowance. You marked your flap already, did you? Okay, now you should have all marked your flap on the above part of your fabric where you cut, not where the folded part of the fabric. Okay. Now, the sixth step, what does it tell us to do?
Remove the pins and the pattern.
Okay, I'd like you all to do that. You remove the pins and the patterns. Remove the pins and the patterns. Fold your patterns neatly and put them away. Those pins should be put away where they should go to. If you haven't finished, so you can keep on working, okay? You can keep on cutting yours, only those who finish will work. Don't do anything yet, we are coming to the next step. Your patterns, put them neatly away, fold them. Remove your pins. Okay, get your pattern. Okay, you turn your what so it faces you. Good. Fold your pattern. You okay now? She's still cutting here. You okay? You okay? Did you mark in your flap?
yes, sir.
Where? No, from the side. Okay, there. So that's where you have the mark, and it's only going to be the top part that you will be cutting off. Let's go on to the next step. That's the second last step. Shall we all read together what it says? Okay, you only cut along the marked, where you marked, or probably you may have ruled a line. You cut along that line. Only the top piece of fabric, not the bottom. Now, which means, where's your line? Okay, 10. You only cut from there to there, only the top one. So your scissors goes, now your scissors goes. You all see that? Your scissors goes, no, leave it down.
One part.
There, see. The bottom one stays and only the top. And then you cut along and make sure you go straight to the other end. Did you see what I did? There, okay, only the top part. Patricia, you okay?
I'm waiting for the ruler. Yeah.
Just want to make it with a ruler.
Just cut across.
Yeah. Just cut across from one edge to the other, but only the top fabric. So this is how you put your scissors in. Yeah. You put your scissors in between the two fabrics. See, the bottom part is there. Okay? And then you just cut along to the other end. Who's already? You okay?
And then cut.
Yeah. And you just cut only. So when you get the scissors, okay, come on. Yeah, like that. Good. Okay?
Then cut along.
So you put your scissors. Okay? Cut right across. Now once you cut it off, you should have a piece like this. Once you cut off the fabric, you should have a piece like this. There should be a piece like this. Only one piece, not two. If you have one piece like this, then you have followed the step correctly. When you cut off that flap, this is about 17 centimeters. So you only should have one piece of fabric like this. Okay, let's have a look at our last step. What does it say? Now, how many centimeters is your seam allowance going to be for the sides? 1 centimeter. And what about the flaps? Where the opening, how many centimeters? 2 centimeters. Thank you. If you can go ahead and do that. Okay. From there down 2 centimeter. At the side, it's going to be 1 centimeter down, 1 centimeter down, 2 centimeter. You do the same on the other side. Okay? Not inside there. You have to do it outside. 2 centimeters. That has to be 2 centimeter down and 1 centimeter across. 2 centimeter down. And for the other side, you don't do it here. You have to turn it, okay, to this side and do 2 centimeter down. You okay? Your seam allowance, from there down 2 centimeters, the sides 1 centimeter, dotted line across 2 centimeters. Now for the other side, you will have to turn this, okay, and do it there, 2 centimeter down. Now if I can have all of us looking this way. Don't forget, once again, your seam allowance has to be 1 centimeter for the sides, 2 sides. The length and 2 centimeters for the flaps. That's the opening to the pillowcase. Now, before we look at our next lesson, I'd like someone to tell me how useful a pattern is. How useful a pattern, especially like now, you have the paper pattern for the pillowcase. Now, how useful it is. Useful meaning, how helpful is it to have a pattern to work with? How useful is a pattern, especially in cutting out whatever garments need to be made? Hayano?
It helps us to measure how much centimeter we need to make a pillowcase, and yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Hayano. So having a pattern, it makes it easier, okay, for us to cut any garments that we need to cut. Now, for example, you have the pillowcase. With the help of the pattern, you are able to cut out your pillowcase. Okay? Now, I'd like all to have a look at our next lesson. Next lesson, if we can all read together.
Next lesson is called Project Procedure. Identifying the steps in sewing a pillowcase.
Okay, sorry if I can just go through that. Your next lesson, it says project procedure, meaning the steps to sewing the pillowcase. Now, if you look at the next activity or next reminder, it is a reminder on action plans. Now, in the previous lesson, when we looked at the names of sewing equipment and their uses, we also were asked to work on an action plan, especially in sewing the pillowcase. Now, in the next lesson, we will be looking at that action plan. So I'd like every group, if you haven't completed those action plans, I'd like you to work on that. And to the receiving school teachers, please, I'd like you to check with your students that they have their action plans prepared, done, and ready for the next lesson. Okay, guessing time with our key phrase. Who would like to guess what our key phrase is going to be? Brandon?
Pattern making.
Come on again.
Pattern making.
Pattern making. Any other guesses besides Brandon? Brandon says pattern making. Messi, what do you say?
Cutting of the pillowcase.
Okay. Any others? Okay, Tulanga has one.
Pattern cutting.
Pattern cutting. These are the guesses for our key phrase. Anybody else? Okay. We have one which is pattern making, cutting the pillowcase, and pattern cutting. So let's see. Cutting the pillowcase. That is our next key phrase. Okay, our key phrase is cutting pillowcase. That is the key phrase for this lesson. And with that, good morning, class.